Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. Okay, so in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the glow, applause and aliveness of those of you who have Sun located within the 7th house within your natal birth chart. But this video may also resonate for those of you who have a Leo descendant, so Leo on that 7th house within your birth chart as well. And I also think it can resonate for those of you who have your Venus in Leo as well. But before we do get started, make sure that you give this video a like today if you like it. Also make sure to subscribe if you have not already and to click that little bell icon in order to keep yourself updated with further content from myself. And also just one more quick thing to mention, if you would like to know more information all about your Sun sign, your Sun house, along with your Leo house and your 5th house within your birth chart, then I have created a Leo season/archetype ebook. So what I am going to do is I'm going to provide a link to that ebook in the description box below so that you can pick up your copy today if you would like. Okay, so with all those introductions out of the way, Sun in the 7th house and Leo descendant individuals, let's do this. So if you have Sun in the 7th house or Leo on the descendant, and also your Venus in Leo here as well, then what this may suggest is that you perform beautifully, wonderfully with others. You know how to put on a show whenever you're with others, and you also instinctively know how to entertain others and how to give others what they want to see from you. In fact, it could very well be suggested that you come alive whenever you're in the company of other people, especially people who validate you, people who boost your ego with words of affirmation and appreciation and acknowledgement. So if you're hanging out with a few friends, for example, it might make you feel really good about yourself whenever they listen to you, or whenever they ask you, hey, what do you think? What is your individual perspective here? Or when they compliment you and applaud you for what you bring to the table. But on the other side of this, you're also probably very good at complimenting others just as much. You might be great at identifying certain qualities in others that they may not even be overly aware of, but then by you shining a light on these qualities, you can boost other people's egos. Then again, this process may also be a bit more complex because you could very well reflect back to them certain parts of themselves that they don't really like, and so in this way it could be that they don't feel all that great then. However, now of course this is a big however, because what we're noticing here is how there can be a part of you that often feels disconnected from yourself and from your own ego, whilst simultaneously seeking to be seen and admired by other people. See, what others might not know about you, Sun in the 7th house, Leo on the 7th house individuals, is how you can struggle with self-acceptance and how you can also struggle with your own identity, with your individuality. You yourself might not even realize this. And what I mean by this is that there can be times whenever you mirror other people so that they accept you, or so that you don't butt heads with other people and create any type of discord. And there may also be times whenever you unconsciously project this image of charisma and confidence, even though underneath you feel the complete opposite. And so in this way, there may be times here when you're not living authentically. There may be times whenever there's parts of yourself that are put across as a way to gain approval from other people, but yet it's a question of, are you being true to yourself within certain situations? Now this is not to say that you're wrong for doing these things, but something to make you aware of here is just your tendency to disconnect from yourself in order to appease others, leading to the likes of having an identity crisis or to the likes of other people walking over you. Of course, it depends on whichever sign the sun is in, along with aspects, etc. as well. But still, if you have sun in the 7th house, just regardless of the sign, there's still these themes here that we're kind of noticing with the sun being in the 7th house in connection with you feeling underappreciated and feeling unseen. Remember, like I just said a moment ago, you come alive especially whenever you're being validated by other people who boost your ego, who stroke your ego. But what happens whenever they're not? What happens whenever you don't feel validated or whenever your ego is hurt? Well, this is an attack on your ego. It's an attack on your identity and what you represent. And of course, these feelings may not feel the most comfortable and they can really hurt. So also keeping in mind here that whilst these things may be occurring, you might not even be aware of how hurt your ego is. In fact, it could be suggested that you're just so used to almost giving your ego away to other people, and so in this way it's quite distant from you, and so whenever your ego actually is hurt, you may not even be able to identify that it is. So let's take a moment to explore your psyche, your shadow side, keeping in mind that the 7th house in astrology looks at the unconscious. It looks at the shadow. Therefore, could it be suggested, sun in the 7th house, Leo ruling the 7th house individuals, that you yourself have felt unseen throughout your life? You have felt invalidated. Maybe you felt as if nobody would recognize you unless you performed for them, unless you put on a show for them, based on their needs and their wants. Or did it seem like the only way to really get attention from others was to act like this performative person, or to act like a child, or to act bratty and quite dramatic? Then again, maybe it was these qualities that were diminished by those who you actually needed attention from the most. So in this way, maybe the attention that you did receive growing up was always on other people's terms. It could possibly be that you were spoiled or given generously to growing up, but the moment that you tried to ask for something else that you wanted as an individual, you weren't heard. So maybe you were told that you had plenty, or maybe you were told that you shouldn't ask for other things. Perhaps these other things I speak of, they weren't tangible or palpable. Maybe they were associated with matters of the heart, or possibly they were associated with your self-expression or with your identity, with your individuality. Then again, another potentiality here is that maybe there was an absence of a father figure some point throughout your life. Maybe there wasn't enough praise or enough recognition from a father figure, or just overall, maybe you didn't feel like you were praised enough as a child. So could it be that sometimes you feel as if you're only validated or seen for the contribution that you make to other people and within your relationships, whilst struggling to acknowledge the contribution that you make as a singular person? So let's say you're in a relationship, for example, whether this relationship be romantic, platonic, or a business relationship. Maybe you feel seen whenever the other person recognizes you, but to feel seen without this other person recognizing you is kind of difficult. And I'm sure that this process can feel frustrating at times, especially during times whenever you're not given that applause and that approval and that recognition from the other person. And another thing about this is how this process may lead to the likes of you acting out unknowingly, or you demanding attention from others unknowingly, or you even sizing yourself up against others who you deem as a threat to your ego, where you then start comparing yourself against others in order to feel better about yourself. Naturally here, comparing yourself against others is a fool's game, because there is no winner, there is no loser, there is no end result, because how do we compare ourselves against another that we're not? And to be honest, I think that this is something that you're coming to learn, Sun in the 7th house, Leo in the 7th house individuals, if you haven't learned this already, of course. And that is how to accept yourself, flaws and all, and how to grasp your identity without depending on others to tell you who you are. Sure, you might have been applauded for portraying certain parts of yourself to others, but even those parts that aren't applauded, accept those too. Accept them even if the whole world is silent. Accept them even whenever your partner or your friend doesn't say good job or nice hair or cute shirt. Accept them, because relying on others to accept them is kind of unrealistic and it's impractical, really, and besides, you could be waiting years if that was the case. So why waste your life waiting for others to see you whenever you can do that yourself? Now, I understand here that this is not a black and white thing. It's very, very complex, and if it is that you have experienced the likes of neglect, dismissal, abandonment as well, then these things can be hard then when it comes to actually accepting yourself. And so yeah, it may not come easy. Believe me, I know. As someone born with Chiron in Leo, and Leo ruling my 7th house, along with Sun conjunct Saturn in the 5th house, and also my progressed Sun now in the 7th house. Hi, Sun in the 7th house, guys. I know the feelings, okay? I know what it's like to be dismissed, neglected, shut out for expressing myself. I know what it's like to be told that I'm an attention seeker, that I'm a show-off in a negative way. But what I'm currently working on is really how to overcome these intrusive thoughts and these challenges that tell me that I'm not good enough due to how others labelled me as a child. And so when it comes to yourselves, I think that you're also learning how to overcome these things by accepting who you are, both the good and the bad, both the light and the dark, and by shining a light on yourself and by glowing within your own right, hopefully you can in turn just, you know, offer more within your one-on-one relationships then as well. And you can give whilst also being bold and fierce and brave enough to say what you want. Likewise, you know, what you want as well in return from other people. And by doing so, hopefully you'll feel happier and much more satisfied, whilst also helping to enrich the lives of others, or to enrich the life of your partner specifically with the likes of love and warmth. And I also think that these things, they can in turn hopefully make your relationships a lot more cooperative and harmonious. So rather than feeling jealous or inferior whenever you spot your friend or your partner speaking to somebody else who you deem as a threat, which this can maybe come about with the negative expression of this placement, maybe you can instead sort of flip that on its head by going, you know what, this person, these people, whoever it is, they're not my competition, they're not my competitor, they're not my enemy. And if it is that you do actually face enemies throughout your life, then who do cause you an actual threat, then maybe you'll gain the courage and the bravery to confront these situations head on. Naturally, you can also apply what I just said to a work situation or to a family situation or to a different relationship situation. And if we were to apply this to your work, so let's say that you have many different customers and clients, of course the 7th house does rule over customers and clients within astrology. Well, I think that you're someone who you truly know how to give to these individuals. You could be so gifted at shining a light on these people, very, very good at helping them glow, where they feel appreciated, they feel validated, they feel seen, and likewise to gain praise and recognition from your clients and your customers, you may feel really, really good about yourself. But even during those times, whenever you receive some constructive criticism or some negative feedback or harsh feedback, try to take those in your stride as well. Of course, you don't have to put up with hateful actions or hateful comments. You should not have to. And also, you shouldn't have to put up with people who deliberately try to tear you down. But to sort of take certain comments and decide what you as an individual choose to do with them, I think shows a lot of courage and a lot of honesty. And who knows, maybe by addressing certain criticisms that you do receive, maybe you can learn a great deal about yourself as well. Maybe they can help you with your own self-development and your own personal growth. The last thing that I want to talk about is in association with marriage partnership and long-term committed partnerships, because it's these things that the 7th house rules over as well. And so it could be suggested that you're attracted to partners who are warm and generous, partners who are confident and expressive and good-hearted, partners who aren't afraid of stepping into the spotlight or letting themselves be seen. Someone who is creative and energetic and enthusiastic about life, or someone who is romantic or who really enjoys their leisure time and just really spending leisure time with you. You might even end up marrying someone who exemplifies these types of qualities. Then again, of course, if it is that you have Sun in the 7th house, it's good to consider the sign that the Sun is in here as well. But yet, the thing about this is that these same qualities that are coming from this individual may be reflecting back to you the very qualities that exist within yourself. Maybe it's someone else that gets you into your heart space and your creativity, for example, here. Or another example could be that you end up getting together with somebody who isn't afraid to challenge your heart and your creativity and your ego even. Maybe some of the things that your partner does really pisses you off because of how they can come across as self-entitled or as self-important. But what you might cease to realize here is that you yourself might actually exemplify these qualities, act them out without realizing it. And if this is the case, then okay, maybe conflicts and disagreements may arise between the two of you within the relationship. But if you can both learn to work through these things together, then maybe you can both come to some sort of mutual understandings. Now, again, don't get me wrong, I also understand that maybe you have experienced partnerships where the partner is in fact so full of self-importance. I mean, it could very well be that you've been in partnerships with charismatic egomaniacs or with narcissists, especially if there are difficult aspects happening to the Sun in the chart. So could be suggested here that you've attracted these types of people into your life, but hopefully you can work on yourself. Hopefully you can get away from those types of relationships, or if it is that you decide to stay with these types of people, then also just being more aware of yourself and your own role. Just, you know, keep yourself safe, and hopefully as well, if it is that you are in a relationship with a narcissistic individual and then you go into a different relationship afterwards, please try not to project these previous qualities in the other relationship onto partners in the future who are actually good for you. But to end this video on a strong and positive note here, okay? It's you, Sun in the 7th house, Leo ruling the 7th house individuals that really do have a knack for praising, validating, appreciating, and just really seeing into other people. You know how to meet people where they're at, and you can be great at being interactive and diplomatic and cooperative with others and within your one-on-one relationships. Essentially, it's you who knows how to please others and entertain them and perform for them, and perhaps part of your purpose is found in these sort of creative efforts that you bring to other people, suggesting that in this life, maybe you'll get involved in the likes of counselling or teaching, within psychology, business, entertainment, and so on. But regardless of where you actually find your place within the world, Sun in the 7th house, Leo ruling the 7th house individuals, you'll most likely gain so much recognition from others for the parts of yourself that you are heroic enough to bring forward with dedication, pride, and strong will, no matter what feedback you receive. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video on the glow, applause, and aliveness of those of you who have Sun within your 7th house, but also for those of you who have Leo on the descendant and your Venus in Leo here as well. Now, if you do happen to have any of these placements, then let us know what you thought of the video in the comment section down below. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, thank you for subscribing, and of course if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then go right ahead and click that subscribe button and make sure that you give this video a like, remember, and I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!